Welcome to Lesson 5 in Book B. This week we have 2 in the lesson book, which is on page 12 and 13, Hot Dog, and What Can We Do? We have 1 in the technique book, which is Rockin' Thirds, page 7, and then page 7 also in the solo book, which is Our Team. So we're continuing to work on thirds, which is just the third degree of the scale. That just means we skip one white key, so whatever note we start on, you skip one white key. It could be up, could be coming down, and when you read the music, it's either space to space or line to line. And so Hot Dog's one that gives kids a little bit of trouble. I think it's because they start too fast and then they make so many mistakes that they can't recover when they're at home. So when they're at home practicing, make sure that they start very slowly. We have half notes here. And it really this one shouldn't be tough because the first 3 measures are just the same in the left hand and right hand. G, E, G, E, and then D, and then they have seconds until you get to the last 2 measures, and then that's where they're a little bit different. So if you were to actually play them at the same time, it would be the same melody, the same notes, and then the right hand in the top, and then in the bottom, C, 2, 3, 4, and then lift. So that's essentially what you need to be doing, but start slowly. It should start half note, half note, half note, half note, play, 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 D, E, C. This is your difference. This is where the eyes need to go right here because this is your third. This is your third. Then you go up for a second from D to E, and then it's down a third. And the same thing in the right hand here, F to D. So F to D and F to D there. You skip one. Notice here you skip the space, and here you skip the line. That's how thirds work. All right, the next one, What Can We Do? This one, it starts with repeated notes. And this might be one you may need to count a little bit with the kids or say, play, 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 half note, play, play, half note, play, 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 play. And it's really these first 2 measures, they're the same. So if they can play this, then this is just the same. It's the same thing. This is legato here, so make sure when they come down off the F, E, D, they come up. And it's just a half note, and then they need to come right back down on this F here, which is the same. This is parallel motion also, starting at F, E, and D, and this is F, E, and D also. At the end of the line, obviously you want to go back and play the line again when you're practicing because you're practicing in phrases. But when you put them together, this is a half note, and then this needs to start. That's where it's helpful to say play, play, half note, play, 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 so they can hear that beat and they know they're supposed to play when you say play. All right, so that's the lesson book, and then the technique book you do at home, and I'll just play this one for you. The only tricky part here is to notice this is a tie, not a slur. The slur's up here. This makes this phrase legato, but the tie means you hold down for both. So you're going to hear a note that sounds exactly like a half note. So you're going to hold it down for 2, just like you hold this one down for 2. It's the bar line and how they just draw the notes on there is the trouble with, is the reason why we have ties. So it starts with thirds, down a second, up a third. I'll just play it for you. So they can play through it a couple of times just to see if they can go back and start it again quickly. That's where a repeat is helpful. It's not just for repetition, but we want the child at the end to be able to play this 1, 2, and then go right back without missing a beat. So that's connected also. That's technique. And then the solo book, this has repeated notes. This might be one you want to add your metronome. 80 is about what we think of with all of these songs. Because these are repeated, they tend to be a little easier to play. Your child will probably memorize this one because once they get it in their fingers, it's an easy pattern to remember. And if that's the case, then you may want to set the metronome closer to 100 or maybe even a little bit faster but make sure that they're respecting these half notes and starting in to the next measure on time. Just like at the end of a line, you want to jump into this one without adding imaginary breaths at the end. It's all one song. So this one sounds like this. Just like in Hot Dog, these first three measures are exactly the same, right hand or left hand. Obviously the fingers are different, and except for the last measure. So the last measure finishes on C, and this finishes with thirds up and down. All right, and those are our books. The paperwork are writing in either thirds or seconds. You write a 2 or a 3 in each. Remember too that our goal for this book is to learn the names of the notes. So continue to quiz, talk about this. This is a good visual of how they look on the keyboard, because we do want the child to be able to imagine what the keyboard looks like under their fingers when they play, because they're not supposed to look at their hands. And then here is where we're drawing the thirds, and we want to draw a third down. So it's line to line, or space to space, line to line, or space to space. And then the names go here. And that's it for the paperwork. All right, have a good week.